Tactical Retreat's mission and purpose is to provide an off-grid experience for veterans and first responders that have dealt with cumulative trauma over their careers. Tactical Retreat Unplugged became a reality just based on my personal experience in law enforcement and the military, having sustained exposure to trauma for many years, where it finally became a physical issue for me professionally. And Tactical Retreat then was born as a way to help other veterans and other first responders that are dealing with this. The people in your community that you see every day, your police officers, your firemen, your 911 dispatchers, your ER nurses, your funeral directors, everybody that sees and deals with things that most of the community doesn't have to, they experience trauma every day. And Tactical Retreat is here to help them and their spouses learn to deal with those traumas in hopefully a creative way, in a way that they can, as a couple, learn how to best handle it in their lives before it becomes a problem, before suicide becomes a problem, before alcoholism becomes a problem, and all the things that can happen just with dealing with bad things in our community every day. Tactical Retreat Unplugged is going to provide a variety of services. We're going to have workshops. We're going to have 2- and 3-day retreats here on the property. We are here in Southwest Virginia to provide a service really to anybody that wants to make the trek here. And we hope that this is just the beginning and we will grow. We're building the infrastructure here. We're building trails. We're building yoga patios. We're building event areas to grow with the need. And right now, the need seems to be great. My background is I spent 10 years in the United States Navy. I started at the White House. Quite frankly, it was an assignment of a lifetime. I was personal escort to Nancy Reagan for a little bit, but also meant that I did funerals at Arlington Cemetery, and I did hundreds and hundreds of them. From there, after I left the military, I went directly into law enforcement, started at a small agency as a deputy sheriff in Southern Oregon, moved up to a city where I worked patrol, I was a robbery homicide sergeant for a bit, and then after 9/11, I found myself working for the federal government in a law enforcement position and spent the next 20 plus years with the Department of Homeland Security in the uniformed services. And so I had a fantastic career, but it was at times difficult, and it was traumatic, and I have just seen and dealt with a lot of things. I don't regret anything I've done in my career. I would do it all over again. But I'm an example of a person that really kind of came to that point in time where I had to raise my hand and say, I need some help. I can't do this anymore. And, to DHS's good is they said, okay, how can we help? And that was life-changing because it showed that in this profession, we can ask for help. We can say we need some assistance if we're going to make it. That was life-changing for me. Now I'm retired. I'm enjoying myself. I'm trying to create this sense of community here in Southwest Virginia, in Appalachia, and just become a bigger part of something that I know is needed out there.
In my experience, most people misunderstand war veterans. There's misconceptions with that we're violent. We have PTSD, so we're angry all the time, or there's also that we're heroes, all of us, which is not the case, or that we're invincible, or some kind of like superhero type. The thing that separates veterans from people is that we all at one point in our life signed on the dotted line, wrote that blank check, payable up to and including our lives in defense of this great nation. My personal experience with Matthew Brandt and Tactical Retreat. First off, Matthew Brandt is a fantastic individual. Him and his wife Beth we love them. We're glad that they're part of our community here in Tazewell. I've had one Tactical Retreat interaction that was a few months back. The thing I like about it is what they have going out there. It's very intimate. The setting. It was just a nice place to decompress, share some stories, fellowship with the guys. The things that they can offer there are much more valuable, in my opinion, than DAV, these big, corporate fellowship places. When you get into the woods, where I like to be, and it's just you and a couple buddies sitting around a campfire or something, I think a lot more can be accomplished in that setting.
So one of the things about Tactical Retreat Unplugged is we really are trying to go off grid here on property, which means we're not going to have electricity. We're not going to have the niceties. We're not going to have cell phone plug-ins. We're not going to have the things that have just become a norm in our day. We want people to at least have a day or 2 days or a workshop's version of coming here and being in nature and walking amongst these beautiful trees here in Appalachia and really just detach, even if it just means sitting around the campfire and maybe just learning a nugget or two about what you're dealing with. But we're going to do it without electricity. We're going to do it without our cell phones.